Epic Store, it's just a cash grab. I think that's obvious to anybody who's in the know about this, who has been really following the Epic Store since it's been announced earlier this year. But it is just a cash grab. Epic is just um, essentially throwing the consumer's choice under their bus for not a lot of games, but a good amount of games, and they're doing that to make money. And I think when you even have you know a site like IGN saying Epic's Game Store isn't ready for all of its exclusives, I think it's entirely obvious just how feature incomplete this platform is, and they know it. And when I see this is the official roadmap that they've released, um, that Epic has released, saying over the next their short term, they recently shipped out a store search. Later in this video, I'm going to prove to you that it is a lot worse than Steam and even GOG's um, search functionality. They recently have offline mode, which is a nice thing. Steam has that too, so they added that recently. But I mean, if you look, search by genre and tag, that's going to be 1 to 3 months from now. You can already do that with Steam. Why? So it's a feature that's coming right now. I mean, it's not like it's necessary with just how few games there are on the Epic Store, but it's it's just proof to me that this that if Epic cared about the consumer, they would have delayed this they probably would have delayed this to releasing early next year. So you know like, look, they have offline mode, but you know they're going to improve it in the next 1 to 3 months. Instead of it just being as good as it needs to be now. They're going to make installing games better, which I mean, I think if they know that it's not as good as it could be, why have it released now? It's just going to be like cloud saves. I mean, cloud saves. I mean, with the Switch, everyone was giving it so much crap for it not having cloud saves for over a year and a half, and then you have to pay for the online to have it. But when Steam, when Origin, when GOG all have cloud saves, the fact that they can't launch with a cloud save feature isn't good. Like patch sizes, so the patching system isn't as good as it could be. That's definitely not a pro developer thing, I'd say. But hey, what am I? I'm just I guess I just don't realize that all this is good for the consumer, as Tim Sweeney would say. So user reviews in 4 to 6 months. And here's the biggest thing: developers can enable player reviews on game pages. Do you think on any game where it actually matters for users reviews, if a developer makes a bad game and they release it on the Epic Store, and obviously bad is subjective, but whatever, the next Assassin's Creed comes out and it's going to be on the Epic Store because it can be, and even if it's if it's a bad game, if it's like worse than Odyssey or whatever, do you think Ubisoft is going to want people to be able to leave that input on the Epic Store? No, it's not like they have user reviews on Uplay. They'll just disable it, and if that's going to be the way for so many developers. If your game doesn't work on if your game doesn't work, or the DLC is overpriced, or the microtransactions are scummy, you think developers are going to want to have these user reviews enabled? And when they've got the option to, the consumer isn't going to have any voice in any situation where it actually meaningfully matters. So that's the biggest problem here. Wish lists. Again, all this stuff is just like if you all of this stuff is like additional like currencies. It's not even all fit for international release. Mod support. It's already in Steam. Epic Overlay. I mean, it took GOG a long time to put this in, but at the same time, it's not like GOG was paying money to poach games from Steam. Library improvements. It's just, I mean, some of this stuff is, not not the biggest thing because there aren't too many games on Epic, and being able to find a library is pretty easy. But one of the biggest things to be determined, automated refunds. Well, I guess you can get refunds now, but like a refund system that's comparable to Steam's, it's not available yet. And do you think Epic has any interest in making a refund system that works as well as Steam's? Of course they don't. They don't want you to refund games. They want to make money off of you. It's blatantly obvious. Like a shopping cart. What store these days doesn't have a shopping cart? I mean, of all the features that they could have launched with at the start, and it's going to take over 6 months. So you're saying we could be by December of this year, and you could still not be able to buy multiple games at one time. That is an absolute joke. And Fortnite makes $1 billion a year with all the money that they make every day off of Fortnite. You're telling me that Epic Games can't make a shopping cart for their goddamn store that they're buying all these exclusives for? I mean, they're spending more money buying exclusives to get these games onto their store away from Steam than they are in actually making the service something worthwhile to the consumer. And I can't stand for it. And this is why I'm making this video, because I'm very angry about this, and I just want to let it out. So it is just an absolute joke, this roadmap, in my opinion. Like, if they knew that they weren't going to ship with all this stuff, and if this is going to be the roadmap, then delay the store a year. And then when you release it, have it compete on its merits with Steam, because then it'll be a pretty good service. And then with the developer split, you're going to want to developers are naturally just going to want to migrate from Steam off of that. Especially if you've got Unreal Engine. I mean, if you have Unreal Engine, it honestly makes sense to not be. It honestly would make sense it wouldn't make sense to not be on Epic, from how I see it. But that isn't what Epic wants to do. They just want to have the store now. They want to be making money now. They've got the Fortnite money now. They aren't going to. It's not going to be a cash cow forever, and they really want to capitalize that. And I can't necessarily say. I mean, it's definitely a good business move, but it's not good for the consumer, and it's not something that I necessarily want to see out of the industry. And it's making the PC a more closed platform. It's making I've had a Steam account since 2012, and I've played PC games. I played Minecraft before that, and StarCraft as well. And so I've been, I care about PC as a platform. I care about PC gaming, and I don't like what Epic is doing with the PC because, well, not with the PC. I don't like what Epic is doing with the store because they aren't competing in a way that's benefiting the consumer. They're competing in a way that benefits themselves and benefits developers. And obviously the developer split, I think that's good. Developers will be able to make more money, and I'm sure that the games where they did make exclusivity deals, like Phoenix Point, like they did burn their backers, and that's absolutely unacceptable. But it'll be able to stick around with that Epic money, and that is, I mean, it's a good thing. But how many consumers did you have to stab in the back in order to get that money? And is it really worth it to do something like that at the end of the day, or is having the community on your good side, the people who are actually going to buy the games? And I'm not interested in buying Phoenix Point, even when it comes out on Steam, because it's not like it's not like I necessarily have ever played an XCOM game, but if it was a good game, then I'd be interested in it. But I don't want to support. I want to start a studio and a man who thinks that Epic's money is more important than the people who backed this project out of the fans who were actually so committed to the games that he made in the past, that they were willing to invest in a future project and invest in his company. But no, it's just, I don't care about those people. I care more about Epic's money. And I honestly think it's a year worth of DLC for that, for doing that. That's not That's a really poor apology in my opinion. But I think let's move on. So this is from PC World, and they don't want to do the exclusivity deal forever. They just want to essentially get a critical mass of the market share, and they're doing this by essentially buying it. And once they've done that, once they've bought that, then they'll stop. So they want to make a massive dent in Steam, and they don't want to do it by winning over the consumer. They want to do it by just buying it, just buying it outright, and then making the money back on sales. Which I mean, Metro Exodus did sell better than the previous game by a pretty good margin. But who knows how well it would have sold on Steam? It probably would have sold on Steam, really well. But we'll never know. We'll never get the Steam sale numbers um, because that game got poached, and it got poached so quickly. It just tells me that this is just something that Epic really rushed to market. Like the initial plans for it were to probably go in 2020, and then they were like, oh, let's just do it now, and let's just buy off the exclusives and everything, and we'll go from it. We'll go from the top down. We'll go from the developers and the games they make rather than winning over the consumer base. But I think the best thing is that I've got both I got both Steam. I got Steam open here right now. So this is the basic search functionality for Steam, right? And if I type in RPG, right, I get a whole bunch of stuff. I got Borderlands 2. I just installed that today. I'll probably play it again eventually since Borderlands 3 got announced. But with the tag system, which again it's going to be on Epic in about a month from now, I can search for even if I want to say like I want to play an RPG, right? Look at that, and then I can narrow that down to JRPGs, and look, there's Final Fantasy 14 online. There's this there's some indie games that come up. Or I want to play an action-based JRPG, or I just want to play an RPG, something like that. If I want to play an adventure game, right? I don't need to even search by a game name. I know that I want to play a specific genre of game, right? I can just do it like this, and I can start looking for I mean, I wouldn't call Assassin's Creed Odyssey an adventure game, but it's got that user tag, so that's why it comes up. But what about demos? Are demos ever going to be on the Epic Store, or are you just going to have to look? I can look at all these demos I can download for free. If I want to get something like this, I can download. Well, not sure. I can download. That's just something. But if I want to play, let's say if I just want to look at the new multiplayer games that are out, I want to go single player. Even GOG, and GOG is not as if I'm looking for just I type in RPG, it's not giving me. It won't. It's just through my collection of GOG games, but even GOG has, like you can search by price of games, you can search by OS, you can say, here's all the the features thing. If I want to look for all the single player ones, all the multiplayer RPG. Well, nothing multiplayer RPG, but I have to type in a specific. So if I go for everything, then I can look at all the multiplayer games on GOG, all the single players. It's not as good as Steam in terms of the way that you've got the user tags and you can essentially start searching by those, but it's definitely a lot better than the Epic Store. Like, look, I have RPG, so if I go back to the store and I type in RPG, I get nothing. And there's no way for me to do user-defined tags. There's no way for me to search if a game's single player or multiplayer. It's just, I want to buy, let's see, Division 2, right? And, oh yeah, look at that. I gotta look at that. Then it just takes me to the website. it doesn't. It's not even specifically. It's not even doing it in the store client. And just look at how look at how cluttered this is. All right, it is just showing. I mean, it shows you the art, but it's not. This isn't a lot of information. This is just so absolutely messy. Whereas with something like Steam, if you go through Steam's featured page, you got your featured and recommended games. You got stuff that's on sale, and then you got basically multiple ways to dole out content, ways to look at what's top selling, what's coming up next, the new games, and all that stuff. And then you've got all these community features that just Epic doesn't have. But I mean, this is this is just a really sad state for the Epic Store to be in. And I mean, I will say I like the idea of developers getting more money, and I definitely, I mean, this free game program it's a legitimately good thing. But if Epic was saying we've added a search bar, it's not a good search bar. It's not a good search functionality where I have to know specifically what game I want to buy. A lot of people go to Steam. Oh, I'm not sure a lot, but you can go to Steam not wanting to buy a game, wanting to find a new game, and then you can go and find a new game. But with Epic, you need to know what game you're buying, and there isn't a lot of content on Epic right now, so search functionalities aren't as necessary as they are for something like Steam, which has admittedly a lot of games that probably would be best off not being on Steam, which is they're asset flips, or they're really bad games, or they're just blatantly they're just blatantly there as like games to increase your like achievements, for the game, the system in Steam or whatever. But Epic is definitely, I mean, the reason why there's so few games on Epic is that most of them are Epic is paying for them to be on there, to be honest. And I don't think, I mean, I'll say this again, I'll sound like a broken record. I don't think this is not pro consumer. I mean, you've had Tim Sweeney say it's not he doesn't think that the consumer is he thinks the consumer is absolutely irrelevant in determining which storefront's going to come out at top. It's just about the developers, and he's got the money to give the developers to have the game on his platform, and he's admittedly got the better split. I mean, if you're using Unreal, then the store will only take 12%, and with Unity, it's 12%, and then the upfront licensing fees that you have to pay. Whereas Steam is going to take 30%, and then they'll only do less if you're a big AAA developer. And for those companies, it's not really. I mean, it's going to matter a little bit, but I mean, where this really matters is stuff like your indie games, like stuff like The Messenger or Shovel Knight, or even Stardew Valley, Wargroove. These games that are made by smaller indie companies that they've got, their profit margins are a lot thinner. They've got the people working there have a lot less job security, and the fact that they're making essentially 18% more per sale than they would off of Steam is probably going to be able to save their studios. And if their studio is doing well, then they'll be able to make more games, better games, bigger games, and I wholeheartedly support that. But do that along with making a storefront that is good to the consumer. And also, don't spy on me and send that data to Tencent. Oh, I'm not sure if they are sending the data directly to Tencent, but I with everything that Tim Sweeney and Epic Games has said, I don't trust a word that comes out of their mouth, and you shouldn't either. But I've essentially, I think I've said my part. This has been a really simple video. This is just me ranting about the Epic Games Store being bad, and I think nothing really new has been said or realized by this, but I just want to say again, it is a cash grab. This is something that I think the Epic Store would have been best off launching in early 2020 as a feature complete store, and then it has all these features, and then it can entice developers with the money split, and it would have been a legitimate competitor against Steam. But we're in this situation where these games are just being bought by Epic for these exclusivity deals, and they're getting them onto a storefront that it's feature incomplete. I mean, some of this stuff, more than 6 months, for a shopping cart. I mean, a storefront without a shopping cart. I mean, come on, absolutely ridiculous. And like being able to track your play times and mod support for games and making the library better. I mean, if you want people to buy lots of games, you want to be able to have your favorite games. I mean, even Origin lets you have favorite games at least, and it's just with if you look at the Epic library, I haven't bought anything from it, but it's just this list of games. It's just this list of games. You can't have favorites like you do in Steam, right? Or GOG. But so it's just so much that they care about selling games and making money, but they don't care about the people who are actually playing the games, like you and me. But I think I've been ranting for a while now. I've been saying really obvious things. So yeah, if you watch this video the whole way through, thanks a lot. If you liked it, then I wouldn't. Then you can like it. If you disliked it, then dislike it. And if you feel like you got anything to say, leave a comment below.